given that there already are standards in place for allowing tax exemption status.
Mm-hmm.
So our concern is that there could be an extra impost where perhaps none is needed, and perhaps where anomalies such as have been highlighted could be dealt with in other ways rather than through a catch-all approach.
But that impost, as I understand it, where we've got a commission operating overseas, the impost is that you have to be more accountable.
Yeah.
The impost is that you have to have a public benefit. Why is that a punishment? I'm just not sure why you would describe that as a punishment.
Well, it's not a. I wouldn't describe it as a. I would say that already that impost exists under our current arrangements. The fact that a couple of organisations have slipped through the cracks is a problem, but as I said in my statement, there are remedies available.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you why it would be a punishment to implement principles that you agree with.
If it led to an extra bureaucratic and compliance impost, that would be a punishment, just as the former member of the Scientologists stated to you yesterday.
So have you had given that you've made, you know this is, you've come here to give evidence, you've put a submission in. Have you looked at the British Commission or the Irish or the Scottish or the New Zealand Commission in terms of how they operate?
I'll let Ben make some comments on that. I haven't personally looked into it in great detail, but
yeah.
my concern is, as I said, it's not with the principles.
I haven't finished yet.
Sure.
Have you looked at how they operate, and do you believe that they operate as a punishment against charities?
Well, we don't know, Senator. Our concern is the lack of consultation in the process, and if there's going to be changes to the way the sector operates.
That's not what I'm asking you.
Well, that's our concern. That's the basis of their...
Please, I haven't got a lot of time.
You must answer the question.
You can go
That's
off
what
and
politicians do. They give a different, they give a standard answer.
Well, I'm certainly not...
and you seem to be doing it.
We know when you're doing it, you see.
Well, Mr. Chairman, it's certainly not my intention to be in any way evasive.
Very well. So if you would
say, I wouldn't want the Senator for any minute to think that I was in any way trying to invade the Senator's questions. I'd be very upset if that was the case.
There's no chance of doing that before this committee, I assure you. So answer the question would be, if you were answering the question, would be appreciated.
So I'm simply asking, given those organisations are established overseas, organised religious bodies and charities operate under the guidelines and the law that applies to that, where is the punishment? In New Zealand, in Ireland, Scotland or England in terms of these organisations?
Well, we don't know is the answer, Senator, and we'd like a proper consultation process to find out before an amendment was passed by the Parliament.
Yeah, how would you... Look, I agree with you. I think in terms of a consultation process, that's been a consistent position that's been put by people who have appeared here. But consultation, you have to have a focus for that consultation, and this is the only focus we have at the moment. But what's emerging is that there are these established committees and commissions overseas. Why don't we? Would that be the more appropriate thing to consult over rather than this bill?
I believe so, Senator. And then the community could look at the costs of setting up such commissions and also the compliance burden that may or may not be applied to the sector, and whether further levels of compliance are needed. I think we all want to have transparency. We all want to demonstrate a public benefit. I don't think there's anyone in the sector who doesn't. If there's concerns in the community about that, they need to be addressed. But I think by going down this path of passing this amendment, that would be of grave concern to us.
Did you listen to any of the evidence from yesterday?
I've only seen media reports online, Senator.
Because the evidence from both the UK Charities Commission and the New Zealand Charities Commission is that all the concerns that you've raised here were raised when the legislation was put forward for the Charities Commission in those countries. But now after a consultation period, and with the operation of those commissions, that concern seems to have disappeared, and people and charities and religious groups operate effectively under those operations. Have you looked at that at all?
No, we haven't, Senator, and that may well be the case. As I say, we'd be happy to cooperate in any consultation process in the future. But our concern is with this particular bill that's before the Parliament now.
Sure. But this is not the only way forward. And
sure.
This is an opportunity for us to address all the issues. I'm pretty keen not just to question you on this bill specifically, but on what's happening overseas. And given that you're basically saying maintain the status quo.
Well, with respect, Senator, I guess we've come at this Senate inquiry based on the terms of reference of the inquiry and the particular bill that's before the Parliament. And quite rightly, the Senate is a forum for wider debate, and obviously, there's a place for that. But our focus has been on this particular amendment, and concern that it might find support in the Senate, notwithstanding the fact it's a private members' bill, without that wider process.
I understand that, but Senate inquiries don't confine themselves to the very narrow aspects of a bill. If people make submissions in relation to what's happened overseas, we take that on board. I would have thought you would have taken it on board because it was clear in the list of submitters that both those charity commissions were submitters. And I'm surprised that, given your opposition to moving from the status quo, you haven't looked at that. That's just a general comment.
Yeah, Senator. I mean, please be. Our opposition is to this particular amendment to the tax laws. We're not necessarily against changes to the status quo. We're against the change in this manner, and we're against the lack of consultation. And that's been our focus. Do I read all submissions that come before a Senate inquiry? No. Should I? Perhaps. But we've focused our attention on this. I'm not aware of the intricacies of how the Senate conducts its committee process. We just had an opening statement from the Chair which warned us to, confine our comments to the issue at hand. So I'm not sure of what liberties we're allowed to take, Senator, with respect.
Not too many, but...
Yeah, that's right. So I don't know what scope I've got to address the issues that you've raised.
On the public benefit test, there is a public benefit test applied at the moment, and you're complaining about added layers of bureaucracy.
Potentially.
You're very keen. You're very keen.
I'm sorry.
Can I ask you to, on notice, have a look at those overseas commissions that operate for charities? And given that you've indicated you haven't looked at them, could you have a look at them? And can you advise me, or the committee, as to whether you believe they add additional bureaucracy, and whether they tend to punish genuine charities in terms of their operation? I'd like you to give that a considered view, not just because you've said you haven't looked at them, but I think you should look at them because you're asking for consultation, and consultation would include that type of approach.
We'd be very happy to do that, Senator.
Yes, thanks.
Senator Xenophon.
John, where's your boss today? Where's Mr. Wallace?
He's taking a well-earned break, Senator. He works very hard, and
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. How many members does the Australian Christian Lobby have, or how many supporters does it have?
We would have close to 10,000, Senator.
So it's not constituent churches as such?
No, it's individual grassroots people who support our organisation. There's no joining fee or anything like that. It's probably a little bit similar to the Get Up organisation in that sense. People give their email address and sign up online and decide to be a part of our organisation. So it's very grassroots.
No.
We're not a peak body for the church, but we represent our supporter base and the broader constituency.
You said that, I just want to get this right, you said in relation to the 1999 decision of the Charity Commission that wasn't a public benefit decision as such. Is that what were you saying about that decision involving the Church of Scientology for the UK Charity Commission?
Our understanding is that the public benefits test wasn't applied till, enacted in legislation until 2006.
Okay. Have you read the charity decision of the 1999 decision?
No, I haven't,
Okay,
Senator.
I suggest you do, because it makes explicit reference to the public benefit test, so I think you've given inaccurate evidence to the committee in relation to that, and I suggest you read it, because the 2006 legislation codified the issue of public benefit.